Today's learning target is I can find the power of a power and the power of a product. Now here's an example of a power of a power. So we have 9 to the power of 6 to the power of 2. So when we write this out, 9 to the power of 6 to the power of 2, we have 9 to the power of 6, and we have 2 of those. So we can see that right here. Now we know from the previous lessons that when I solve a problem like that, I would get 9, and then I have 9 to the power of 6 and 9 to the power of 6, so it's going to be 9 to the power of 12. So that would be my solution to that. In this next one over here, I have r to the 4th power to the 5th power. So when I write that out, I have 5 groups of r to the 4th power, which I've shown you right here. And so if I solved that, I would have r to the 20th power. Because if I count up these 4th powers, I'm going to have 20. Now, you maybe have just noticed that when you do a power of a power, rather than writing them out, you can just multiply them. Okay, so when we had 9 to the 6th power to the 2nd power, it's 6 times 2 is 12, and that's what you get for your power. Same thing here. If you multiply those, you get 20. So you can write them out. It's important to know that that's what it looks like, but a simpler way to do that is to multiply those. If I had a power of a power like this, okay, I would just have, so 2 to the 3rd power to the negative 2nd power. So I do the same thing. I'm just going to multiply negative 2 times 3 is going to give me negative 6, so I would have 2 to the negative 6th power. Or if I wanted to get rid of that negative power, I could do 1 over 2 to the 6th power. Either would be okay. Today you're going to be asked to simplify problems where you have powers of powers. So here's an example of that. We have 5r to the 7th power squared. So if I were to rewrite this problem here, I'd have 5 squared, okay, because I'm squaring this, so 5 squared times r to the 7th squared. Okay, so here's how I would rewrite that. Now, I do 5 squared, which is 25, times, okay, r to the 7th power here. And we now know that if you find the power of a power, we can just multiply those. So we're looking at r to the 14th power. So if I were to write that, then my final answer would be 25 r to the 14th power. So if I have a problem here that looks like this, the first thing I'm going to do is think about how would this look if I had this to the 3rd power. So here's how this would look if it was written out. And now I know negative 4 to the 3rd power is going to give me negative 64. Okay. And it's negative because here's how I would write out negative 4 to the 3rd power. And these two would give me 16, and negative times a negative is a positive. So then I'd have 16 times negative 4, which would give me negative 64. The next part would be the s to the 5th power to the 3rd power would give me s to the 15th power. And then lastly, the t to the 7th to the 3rd would give me t to the 21st power. And when I just put that together, I get negative 64, s to the 15th power, t to the 21st power. If I'm solving a problem like this, okay, I'm going to solve this the same way. The only difference is I have a negative sign in here. Okay, so I have negative 3 to the 4th power. Now, negative 3 to the 4th power would look like this. I'm going to have 4 negative 3's. And I know that when I multiply these two, negative times a negative is a positive. I'm going to get a positive 9, and then a positive 9 here. So when I solve this, I'm actually going to have 9 times 9 is 81. And then a to the 3rd power to the 4th power would be 8 to the 12th power, and then b to the 8th power. Now I can use the same concept to find the area of a square. So here I have a square, and I can see that the side of this square is 3 times a squared times b to the 5th power. Now to find the area of a square, I could either take the length times the width, or to find the area of a square, I could also do the side and square it, right? Because that would be the same as this times this. So to find the area of a square, I'm going to start with my formula. Area equals the side squared. Okay, and that would equal 3a squared b to the 5th power, and I want to square that. And to solve that, I took 3 and I squared it, which gave me 9. A squared to the 2nd power gives me 4, and b to the 5th power squared would give me 10. So there would be my answer.